VA Dold and Tori Austin. I met Vicki at Rom-Com in 2012, and I was there as a reader, and Vicki was there as an author publicist. We met hanging out in the bar, which is not an uncommon occurrence at these types of conventions. Uh, we were chatting a little while ago. I was listening to some of the discussion you had with readers at the signing yesterday, and you said you had an idea in your head for a book for 3 years. What caused you to finally put it down on paper?
I was actually in Phoenix, Arizona, doing a couple of conventions as a publicist to the authors. And I was speaking to several author friends I knew. And I had this idea in my head, and I kept offering them my idea to write so that it would just get written and be done. And they all said that unless I wrote it myself, I wouldn't get it out of my head and the voices would never stop. So I wrote it down, and it came out as I told the story instead of showed the story, which is a totally different animal. I ended up having to rewrite that book 3 times before I had it perfect. And since then, it's been a bestseller on Amazon, and I've won awards with it. So it's worth it as a writer, if you're an aspiring writer, to do it right before you publish it.
Okay. Well, tell me about what your books are about.
My original series is Wolf Shifters in New Orleans. The mother and father of these 7 sons are tired of waiting for grandchildren, so they start setting up their sons with their one and only one true mate, and one by one they set the kids up. And I started out with just the first story. It was just the one son, not knowing it was going to bloom into 7 sons, 6 cousins, and a couple of extra characters, and I went from 1 book to 16.
Okay, and then your Tori Austin books?
Those are my offshoot contemporary cowboys in Texas. And there's a psychic matchmaker who's setting up the cowboys with their wives.
Okay. Now back to your first series. What type of shifters are they?
Wolf shifters.
And what makes your books unique?
They're unique because if the heroine is over, or hero, whichever, the human in the couple, if they are over their mid-20s, when they go through the claiming, they actually get to regress back to about age 25. So that's a bit different. And
your heroines?
My heroines they're not necessarily 20-year-old size 1 women. Most of them are between ages 25 and 25, and they're plus size. And I mean, the first heroine I ever wrote was 45, newly divorced with 2 adult children. So my heroines aren't your normal in the box heroines.
Who are some of the authors that have inspired you? And this will be a multi-part question. Who have you met, and how did you fangirl? And who do you still wish to meet?
I guess my main inspirations are like Christine Feehan, Sherilyn Kenyon, those type of authors. Met them both. One of my favorite authors I met was J.R. Ward, and she always travels with her mother. She's very close to her mother, and I actually was more interested in meeting her mother than J.R. Ward. So when I went up to the book signing table and was talking to JR, her mother was sitting behind her, and I actually said hello to JR, and I said, if you don't mind, I'd rather speak to your mother. And JR Ward was rather floored by that. She was tickled pink that someone wanted to speak to the mama. But I wanted to know the woman that raised J.R. Ward and made her the woman she was today as the writer. So that was an interesting meeting.
And who would you still like to meet?
One of the women I would like to meet that I've read almost everything she's written is Patricia Briggs.
Okay.
I've never met her.
And we've got time for one more question. If you have one piece of advice to give to an aspiring author, what would it be?
As you're learning how to write, make sure you write all your ideas down as they come to you so you don't lose them, number one. So it doesn't matter if it's just jotting down a note of a 1-sentence idea or a full-fledged, chapter that you've got. Write it down so you don't lose it. Number two, there's a book on Amazon. I think it's $1.99. It's about a 50-page book, and it teaches you how to show and not tell when you're writing. And third and foremost is go to either RT convention or RWA and do the author track and learn a lot of the tricks and tips on how to write, how to build worlds, how to build characters. Do those things before you actually start writing that book and publishing.
Well, thank you very much, Vicki.
You're welcome.